Well, happy good evening to everybody. As the case is, sometimes it's 5 minutes after seven. We had no, almost 7 minutes after seven. We had the dreaded technical
Sometimes
difficulties,
it's 5 minutes after seven. We
but
had the no,
now
almost
we
seven
are
minutes after seven.
still working on some stuff. And hello, Neil. Come in, Neil. Are you there?
Neil is here. One, two.
All
Testing.
right.
One, two.
So yeah, we are aware of the fact that it sounds like somebody's got a fan in the background, but you know, this is what best we can do for right now. So we'll live with it. But how are you, Neil?
I'm all right. Pretty good. I'm going to get over this little stress segment here right before we go on. Like things were sounding so good. Yeah, it's just the way it works. Just the way it works.
And here's the thing now, just about the time that you started talking, it now sounds like a little remote controlled airplane going now. So I'm not sure
where in the world
from,
are these random noise? That may be coming from a Russian controlled drone.
Oh no,
come into our channel.
Yeah. But anyway, so
yeah, we'll try to get it cleaned up for next time if we do another one, and if people will come back next time, we'll try to get the audio cleaned up. I'm telling you, it sounded good right before we started.
Yeah, of course it did.
Oh my goodness.
We are trying to overcome this because, it's like, oh, squirrel. No.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's coming in on y'all's end, but on my end, I'm distracted because I'm hearing something that, like I say, sounds like a remote control airplane, but we'll just roll with it.
All right.
Or I don't know if you want to, and I'm trying to do some things, just making sure. Yeah, wait a minute. There we go. Oh, it stopped there for a second.
How about now?
It went down, and now it's it's gone right now.
I'll tell you what the magic click was sometime.
What?
No, I actually did.
Now. It's back a little bit now, but.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah. I think it was Jeremy. I think it was Jeremy Raines the other night said that this was like the Manning cast for Southern Gospel.
Oh, and absolutely.
Goodness knows they had their share of problems and issues when they were getting started. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's like you've the talent of Peyton and I've got his forehead. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the opposite. I've got the talent of Eli and you look normal. So. But yeah, we're starting to get some reports that folks are coming on, and I'm trying to check in about 3 different places here, but I think we're rolling along pretty good. So anyway, with all that said, that was 3 minutes and 20 seconds of your life that you'll never get back, all 29 of you that are with us right now. And Neil just went away. Okay, well, let's see. He may be trying to work on something, but let me see if I can get him back. Did you intentionally go away, Neil? Can you hear me now? I think he may be trying to work on some stuff, and he'll be back in just a minute. So, like I said, we have got a lot of stuff going on tonight. Welcome to my study, as Eli calls it. And we are just going to kind of visit, hopefully get this last little technical difficulty worked out. But we were just going to spend some time tonight and reminisce about our lives in Southern gospel music. And Neil's back now. Are you there? See Neil, but I don't hear Neil. And I don't know if Neil can hear me. So, yeah, Keith Wilson, it is that Millport education. I'm telling you. So let me put this up on the screen, see if Neil can see that. He'll laugh when he sees it, probably. But But we apologize. Like I say, this is the first time we've done this for real. We did a little test the other night, and both of us tried to change some stuff. Neil, I don't hear the noise I was hearing, but I don't hear you either, and I don't think you can hear me. Yep, I don't hear you at all. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but we'll keep working it out. If y'all can hang around for us a little bit. I cannot hear Neil at all on the broadcast, and I'm not sure if y'all can out there or not. But and he left us again. So this just gets more fun all the time, doesn't it? Y'all ought to try this sometime. And I'm trying to look and see if there's. It's weird because I've got the screen in front of me that's got what y'all are seeing, and then on another screen over here, I've got a playback that's doesn't have any volume on it. So anyway, so y'all know why I'm in radio now. I don't do this video stuff very much, but hey, look, let's see if I'm right. Yeah, yeah, and everything's backwards. There's the Bama Boys right back there. But that's kind of what we were going to talk about tonight, and talk about singing gospel music, Southern gospel music, or I can even go you one better. Let me pop this up here right now. There you go, some certified real Southern gospel music that we've been able to do since we were younger. I started to say we little lads, but I don't think that applies to both of us or either one of us. So Neil's working on swapping to a different computer, so we'll do what we call in the industry stall until he gets back. But we are just going to spend some time tonight and just kind of, like I said, reminisce a little bit. And as you see on the bottom of the screen there, we are also wanting to let you know about a special event that we've got coming up on Saturday night, March 19th at 7 o'clock at the Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama. The Chosen Witness, the group that Neil sings with, Faithful Friends, the group that I sing with, and the Dixie Echoes are going to be our special guests. So we hope that you can make your plans to come and be with us on Saturday night, March 19th at 7 o'clock at the Fayette Civic Center. No admission charge. When Neil gets back with us, he'll kind of talk about, or we'll tell the story of how all this came together. It was, for lack of a better term or any other explanation, it was a God thing. But we'll tell you that story in a little bit when he gets back. But suffice to say, we just wanted to have a singing because with everything that's gone on in our world over the last couple of years, both of our groups, Faithful Friends and Chosen Witness, as well as the Dixie Echoes and virtually all of the professional touring Southern gospel groups, had more singings canceled than they were able to do. And now that things have kind of opened back up, we just wanted to have a singing. So we decided that we would go out on faith and invite our friends, the Dixie Echoes, and hopefully we can fill up the Civic Center or get a good crowd and just enjoy it. As we say with Faithful Friends, we enjoy bragging on Jesus and having a good time doing it. And that's exactly what we are going to do on March 19th at 7 o'clock in Fayette, Alabama. So if you don't know where Fayette is, sometimes, as I say, we're dangerously close to the Mississippi line. That's a joke. And we're about 45 minutes northwest of Tuscaloosa. You can go up Highway 43 to Berry Junction and go through Bankston and come into Fayette that way, or you can go up 171. From Birmingham, you can take I-22. If you want to stay on I-22, get off at what is now the Haleyville-Tuscaloosa exit of Highway 13. Take that to Highway 102 and turn right, and then come down to 43-171, take a left, and that will bring you right into Fayette, Alabama, and we'll talk about that. Let's see if Neil's back. I see him. Let's see if he can talk to us, or he may still be getting things worked out here. Can you hear me now, Neil?
1, 2.
Yes, there he is, right there.
Check 1.
Yes, we've got you, Neil. Can you hear me?
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Well,
1, 2.
Apparently
3.
he can't hear me yet. So, Neil, I can hear you, and you're on the air, and but we can't. Apparently, you're not able to hear me yet. So,
Not yet. I hadn't joined it yet.
well, I joined you, and maybe I should take him off. Let me see. Hang on just a second. We'll get that going. Yep, I see that we're up. I know that.
All right.
Yeah,
hey,
there
we're
you
here.
are. You can hear me now?
Yeah, believe it or not. I probably sound a lot
Okay.
thinner now.
Okay. Well, well, you are anyway. So,
Yeah. Well, getting there.
hey, Neil, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing
All right.
good.
So, since you made me stall for about 6 minutes. I'm gonna go lay
Yeah.
down and
Okay,
recover.
do that.
So you take it from here. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
will. Hey, the funny thing is, I'm like the IT guy, or the guy that works with computers all the time, and I'm the one that can't make them work tonight. I mean,
Oh, it
they all just
happened.
started falling apart everywhere. And yeah,
It,
Keith Wilson, I resemble that remark. Millport
yeah.
education. Good night. Oh well.
But let's say hey to some folks.
Okay.
Mr. Murray's in here. Robert Murray. I see Rick Jones is here out in Missouri. Linda
Yeah.
Turner Taylor, former school teacher. I started to say old. I know better than that. She'd get on me.
Yeah, boy.
Let's see here. Who else we
Oh
got
my
with us?
goodness.
Randall Sutherland's here. Billy Boo Boo Shaw is here.
Boo boo. None
And
other than Mr. Les
yeah.
Butler is among us.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Les.
Yeah.
He's one of my 18 boss men. So,
Yeah. There you go.
Les, did you notice that I put the seal up in the corner? So
I bet he took note.
I don't
For
know if
sure.
I may have to pay him royalties on that, but
Hey, cousin Scott, look at there.
yes. Neil, I was just kind of just catching people up, telling them we was going to tell some stories and then giving them a sneak preview or telling them about the event that we've got coming up on March 19th at the Fayette Civic Center. And I was trying to give folks directions on how to get to Fayette if they don't know. But
Okay.
I said we were going to, okay, thank you, Les. It's royalty free to employees. Thank you. But I said, for lack of a better term, it was just a God thing that the way this whole concert, or singing, whatever you want to call it, came about. And I'll start it and I'll let you wrap it up. But I
Okay.
was driving by the Civic Center. This was late last fall, early winter, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just drove by the Civic Center because I live in Fayette. And just had that idea. I mean, I just thought to myself, I said, we need to have another singing there sometime. The folks at the Civic Center, Glenda Robertson, and all the crew there has been so great to us. We've had a couple of, I know we had one singing there a few years ago with Mark Bishop,
Mm-hmm.
but they have been very gracious to us and just had that thought. And it was, I don't know, probably about 3 hours later, Neil calls me and says something to the effect of, when have you talked to that lady at the Civic Center? You pick it up from there.
That was pretty much it. I mean, the timing was impeccable, no doubt. I had been for quite a while just wanting to, host another Southern Gospel concert and have some more music in the area. I mean, of course, with the pandemic and things just really shut down for a while, but just it seemed like in general over the last several years in the part of the state where Chris and I grew up, West Alabama, West Central Alabama, there'd been less and less singing, and so yeah, I just hit him up and I thought we just need to bring somebody to the Fayette Civic Center, and at the same time, I had been thinking for a long time about wanting to put together a concert for the Dixie Echoes.
Yeah.
With the Dixie Echoes, I could just hear it echoing in my mind. Randy saying, "We need to sing together sometime. We need to sing
Mm-hmm.
together sometime. We need to, I don't know." And so yeah, those two desires, and I mean, Loretta and I had been praying about it, about where could we have them, how could we do this, and then I called you, and that had just happened, and hey, it just all fell together from there.
Yep. And it was because we both have gotten to be good friends with the Shell Nuts, and and both of our groups have recorded with them over the last few years, and just learned to love them. And this kind of fit like a glove because in this same time frame, started talking with Les Butler and excited to be involved with Real Southern Gospel Radio now,
Hmm.
and this is a concert that just fits that perfectly because that's what we do is Real Southern Gospel.
Yeah.
Our group, Faithful Friends, I use the line a whole lot where we just love to brag on Jesus and have a good time doing it. And I know that's the same way with you, but going all the way back, let's just share our history.
All
And
right.
I'll let you start because you started before I did.
Okay. Yeah, we for years our family, my mom and dad, high school sweethearts, grew up right there in Millport, Alabama. Attended Millport High School. they married, and then before long there was me, and then a little longer there was Chris. And my dad moved around for a good bit. The first 6 years of school, I was in like 6 different schools, different city every year. And Chris, I think it was the first 3 years of school, was in 3 different cities. But then there came that time that Dad decided to settle back home in Millport, Alabama. And when we did that, not too long after that, well, we started attending the church that my mom had grew up in right there in Millport, Probst Memorial United Methodist Church. And there was a lady there that I attribute to really getting, lighting mine and Chris's fire for singing to start with, and that was Miss Martha Maxwell. She saw that we had, a talent to at least carry a tune, and she encouraged it big time. And we wound up just me and him singing there at the church. I mean, the first time we ever sang, I think he was probably, standing on a little stool beside me, that kind of thing. And so that's where the singing started. And it kind of irked me because Chris actually developed the ear for harmony before I did. I'm almost 4 years older, but he started singing that harmony part before me. I would try to start singing with somebody, and I'd get off on whatever part they were singing. But Chris started singing that harmony earlier. And at the same time, I was the one that wanted to sing all the time, and he's the one I'd have to beg to sing, or Daddy would have to make sing at times. I'm talking about when he's a little bitty guy.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, of course, our dad was a singer, and man, could he sing a gospel song. Still to this day, my favorite singer. And he had sung there in that area with the FFA quartet in Millport he had been a part of when he was in school, and with others in that area. And he started singing at Probst. The song I remember Chris, Daddy first soloing there when we moved back to Millport was "If That Isn't Love."
Yep.
I can hear it like it was yesterday, him standing there in that pulpit singing "If That Isn't Love." And of course he sang it many times after that because it got requested a lot at the home church. And then of course Dad started singing with Miss Nell Fields and Miss Judy Heydrich at the time, and they had a nice sounding trio that I know the pastor at the time was Brother Bob Maxwell. His wife, Miss Martha Maxwell, is who I was talking about, encouraged us to sing. And Brother Bob said he was going to call Dad and those two ladies trio the Bob Maxwell Evangelistic Singers. Do you remember that? That was the name he gave them. I don't know how far back you wanted to go, but I went way back, buddy. So
yes.
I'm just now fixing to enter the quartet time, but what you want to interject?
Nathaniel Wallace said this: "What was the first song you sang live?" I don't know if I remember.
I think maybe the very first one that you and I sang live was "I'll Fly Away."
Really?
Because that was a 3-chord and a cloud of dust, and I could, I was picking that little 4-string guitar, and I could play "I'll Fly Away." I knew the chords of that one, and I believe that was the first one we ever did.
Wow.
I think so.
That's good.
Yeah. Chris always says I'm the historian, so some of the little things I just remember. I don't know why, but I do.
Y'all probably don't believe me, and Neil will deny it, but I promise you, if I call the name of a church, he could probably tell you how many times we had been there, what the layout was, where the bathrooms were, and all that was more my thing.
Yeah.
But and could probably either tell you the song list from that night, or he has a recording of it somewhere. So
maybe. Boy, I got a box full of old cassette tapes. No doubt. But no doubt.
Yes, and I've had many people over the years ask me about stuff, and I don't know. It just all became a blur to me. But I'm amazed at how much that you do remember.
Yeah, I will say it was. I mean, it's what I grabbed a hold on during all of those years. The singing was it for me, and the gospel music.
Wait a minute, hang on just a second.
It's just
Boo wants to know this.
Oh,
I've got it. You want me to do it?
Yeah, let's do it. Ready?
All right. Yeah.
Some glad morning when this life is o'er, I'll fly away. That's enough of that. Yeah. How's that, Boo Boo?
Oh man.
Mark Jones is in there. You believe that?
Hey, Mark.
And Junior Williams. Hey, Junior. I haven't seen you in person in quite a while.
I mentioned Mark a while ago, and Mark Bishop.
Oh, okay.
Junior commented, "Good old Mark."
Good old Mark. There you
Look
go.
at that. I want my hair to grow out so I can make mine do like Junior's does down there.
Wow. Yeah. Man alive. Yeah.
But
One thing I
anyway,
can tell you about every church that we ever sang in,
yeah,
to get there, you had to cross
yes.
the railroad tracks.
Oh,
I
yes.
I mean, remember there was no GPS, so we always wrote down directions, and in the directions to every church I think we ever sang at, you cross the railroad tracks and fill in whatever, but that was always in the directions.
You can't do that in Fed anymore. They took them up. So we can't give you those
Uh-oh,
directions to get to the Civic Center. So
that's right. Uh-oh. Oh
we could
well.
tell you to go over where the railroad tracks used to be, but
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
so oh my goodness, Scott's got us live on his television. That's scary.
That's a big picture. My goodness.
So anyway, can I pick up
Go
the
for it.
reminiscing story?
Yeah, go for
So
it.
we did all that at Probst back in the day, and I don't think you hadn't talked about the Opryland trip yet, have you?
I haven't. That's kind of where I was about to get to. Hey, Bridget Harrelson, Umber. All right, go ahead.
And Neil will fill this in. I'm thinking it was what 76,
That sounds right. It was
somewhere
definitely
along in there.
mid 70s. Yeah.
And if we have very many young folks, you may not remember this, but there used to be a theme park in Nashville called Opryland. I know all the folks our age remembers that. The
Yep.
theme park that they tore down and built a mall. Huh? But anyway,
Yeah.
but we went
Shopperland.
there on vacation, and while we were there, just as will happen sometimes, you just run into people that you know in the most random of places. But we ran into Ken and Jimmy Nell Cook and their family. And I know at that time, all of us kids we was more interested in going and riding the Wabash Cannonball or something like that. But Ken graduated high school at Millport with our mom, which Ken's birthday was yesterday, and mom's was Tuesday.
Yeah.
And but anyway, they graduated, and then Dad graduated a year ahead of them, so they all grew up knowing each other. And Dad and Ken had sung in the FFA quartet at Millport that had won several championships, state and tri-state, and that kind of stuff. So anyway, they get to talking and talking and talking and talking some more. And we was like, man, we didn't come up here to visit. We came over here to ride stuff and eat
That's
cotton
right.
candy. But
That's
but
right.
anyway, once we got back home, just a few weeks later, Ken called Dad and invited him to join a group that Ken had called the Colombians. And Neil, you may want to pick this up because at the time they also needed a bass guitar player.
They did. Yeah. I think at first Ken called and told Dad that he needed a bass singer. The bass singer was leaving. And
Yeah.
was asked Dad if he could sing bass, and Daddy said, I'm not really a bass singer, Ken." And no, but he told him, he said, "You need to call Avon Russian if he's not sitting with anybody," because
Yep.
Avon had sung in the FFA quartet, went to Millport also, and as it turned out, Ken did call Avon Russian, and Avon joined the Colombians, and it was just a couple of months later that then, hey, he had another open spot, and he called Dad.
See, I didn't know that, or if I did, I forgot. So
Yeah.
that's just more of the, you're the official historian of not only Shirley Jean Burrell, but of all of our history too. But anyway, go ahead.
And so, yeah, Dad said, yeah, he would come. And so he went and practiced. And I think he just went one night and practiced. And while there, he met a long, lanky piano player named James Jones that was playing with the
Yeah.
Colombians. But James was the only musician at that time. And they were talking about needing some musicians. And James had said, well, my brother, he plays like the snare drum in the band. He could probably play a trap set of drums, because piano, bass, and drums was the standard basic band, if you wanted to put
Oh
together a
yeah.
band for a gospel group. And so James' brother Mark came to start learning to play the trap set and to play drums. And Daddy told Ken, well, they said they need a bass guitar player. And Daddy said, well, Neil can play bass, or could play bass. He said he can play guitar, chords on a guitar, so I'm sure he can play bass. And so the next week I go and pick up the bass guitar for the first time ever, and learn to play it at the Colombians practices. And Mark learned, picked up on the drums and started playing the drums there as well. So that's where I got my foot into the Southern gospel world, was playing bass for my dad singing in the Colombian quartet. And then the group like that went for, I don't know, it was less than a year, I think, before James, the piano player, actually graduated high school and moved to go to college.
Yeah.
Then at that other college, we won't talk about it right now, but that's
Can
where
I
he went.
interrupt for just a second?
Go right ahead.
Because before that happened,
Yeah.
the Colombians got to record an album at Sullivan,
That's right.
Alabama, Billy Maddox, Quicksilver Sound Studio.
That's right.
And
Yes.
can we listen to some Colombians music?
Oh, we can. Absolutely.
Let's see. What do I want to play? I
Oh,
want to play a daddy. I want to play a daddy song.
Yep, that'd be my request.
Let's do that. Let's play this one.
That'll work. Yeah. Avon Russian.
There's a fight leaving here in the morning. Destination was ordered long ago. Now the captain is ready and waiting, but the ends on his tail high low, waiting now for those who still linger, with unclaimed tickets free to every man. Reservations secured by the sailor on this one-way flight to glory land.
Now this flight is for all those believing, and our pilot is Jesus, God's Son. And the passengers are all boarded safely. They're prepared for this heavenly run. My brother, don't let this flight leave without you, for soon all those who are on board will say goodbye. Make your way to the toll gate called Calvary and confirm your reservations in the sky.
Lord, Master, call it from the runway, for our leaving is almost at hand. Make your way to the toll gate called Calvary, for this runway flight to glory land. Oh, Lord, Master, call it from the runway, for our leaving is almost at hand. Make your way to the toll gate called Calvary, for this one-way flight to glory land. For this one-way flight to glory land.
As Eddie Stubbs used to say, are there any questions? There better not be. This is the part you're going to have to unmute yourself there, or I can unmute you. I think I can. There you go. Now you're back.
I am.
think. Are you? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I almost started squalling like a mashed cat, so I had to kind of grin through it and get through it.
Yep, there you go, for sure.
But I remember, and you may have to take over because I may lose it, but
All right.
at that time, Daddy worked at Weyerhaeuser and worked
Yeah.
a graveyard shift, didn't he? And I think they went on was it a Sunday afternoon and recorded that? Or I think where he had worked overnight
Probably.
on Saturday night, and I think they went on a Sunday afternoon and recorded that. And I still hear some of the tiredness.
Yes. He actually, I mean, not just overnight, he had worked a double shift overnight. He had
Yeah,
worked like
okay.
a second and a third shift.
Yeah,
Double shift, got off, came home, cleaned up, loaded us up, and we headed out to the studio. And
yeah.
yeah, since we're doing it now, let's go ahead and play another one of Daddy. And this is the one I'll squall on too, because this is if I had a signature song I used to love to hear my daddy sing, it would be this one. And you can hear a little bit of weakness as far as he was tired and all, but man, I still think he delivered this song. And of course you knew which one I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Have you wandered alone on life's pathway? Have you lived without love, a life of tears? Have you searched for a great higher meaning? Oh,
Wasted years, wasted years. Oh, how foolish as you walk on in darkness and fear. Turn around, oh, turn around. God is calling, keeps calling you from the life of wasted years. Search for wisdom and seek understanding. There is someone who knows and always hears. So give it up, that load you're bearing, for you can't go on in a life of wasted years. Wasted years, wasted years. Oh, how foolish as you walk on in darkness and fear. Turn around, oh, turn around. God is calling, He's calling you from the life of wasted years. Keeps calling you from a life of wasted years.
So there you go. That's the Colombians and Wasted Years here on the Champion Brothers broadcast.
Yeah, the red coats
that's
are coming. I put up there in the corner just to
Yeah.
remind those that remember what that LP looked like.
I had our Bama Boys records, and I'll bring them up and show them a little bit closer. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's it. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was figuring I wasn't looking at the screen, but yeah, that's it. So, so yeah, that was in 77, I guess, is when y'all recorded that one.
Yeah, I think so.
And but yeah, that went on, and I want to let's look at some comments here. My old classmate, well, my former classmate. I have to watch saying old anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Since I am. Melanie wanted to know who was on piano on that one. That was James Jones, Mark's older brother. Yep. And let's see, there was a couple others that I wanted to. Les is issuing a real Southern Gospel warning. Here we go. There it is. Real Southern Gospel has been reported to be in the area. So, cool. Les, I don't know. I don't think I've ever played that for Les, but that was our dad, Les, in case you didn't get that. But yeah, so there's pretty positive. We was raised up on this. And sure. Also, Les said, still a message that needs to be delivered and heeded today. So
absolutely.
I may have to pull up a recording of Neil singing that. I always said Neil's the real singer in the family. I don't know where he got that. I learned harmony before he did, but he said it. I believe it. But
yeah, yeah, it irritated me. You could stay on the harmony part, and I couldn't.
And I said something about Nathaniel Wallace asked about what the first song we sang. Like that's actually Deborah on Nathaniel's account. So, and Janice, yes, she says I think Neil has lost weight, looking good.
Well, thank you, Janice.
I've said since, I guess it was New Year's Eve, the first time I'd seen you in a while. And I said, for the first time in my life, I'm bigger than my brother. Because I always used to say he used to beat on me like the redheaded stepchild, although I wasn't a stepchild, I was redheaded. But and when I got big enough to beat back on him, he moved.
Yeah.
So I never got to. So, so anyway, Kay Shackelford says Daddy Avon was a good one. I miss hearing him sing. Yep. And
Absolutely, okay.
I've made the statement a million times that me and Neil both had 3 bonus daddies. 2 of them are still with us. Our dad and Don Shepard aren't here anymore, but Avon Rushing and Ken Cook are. So they helped raise us. Avon, I always say this, and I'm not sure if people believe me, and I don't really care, but Avon taught me how to tie a tie. So that's where I learned how to tie a tie. Because Avon got tired of tying it for me. He said, "Here, let me show you." And he did.
Yeah.
The rest, I say, is history. So
you mentioned Don Shepard. That story about when Daddy went with the Colombians and said Neil could play bass, and the reason they needed a drummer is because Don Shepard had been playing drums with the Colombians.
yeah.
And at that time, the 2 guys singing lead and baritone had left, and so Dad came to join, and then Don wanted to start singing, which he did. Don was another voice on that recording, and so yeah, it was a name we didn't mention before, but yeah, Don was right there through a lot of the formative years in gospel music in our lives.
So then, just picking back up the story, Neil was talking about when James left to go to, I'll say at Auburn.
That other
Bless his
college.
heart. Yeah, I know it, but anyway.
Well, okay.
But at that time, we just did the old brother shuffle, and James's brother Mark moved over to piano, and Neil's brother me moved over to drums, or moved on to the drums,
Yeah.
and kind of like you in the bass, had never really done it before, but just kind of picked it up and dodged all the little old ladies at the convention singings that got mad at us because we had drums, and I won them over. Was it Miss Lucille Hawthorne that commanded us to turn them drums down?
Turn them drums down. Yes, yeah. Turn them drums down. Yeah, that was a scary thing. How old were you when you first started playing? Was it 10, 11, 12?
So it was 78, I guess.
Yeah.
I would have been 11, probably, because
an 11-year-old drummer.
My birthday's at the end of the year, so.
Yeah. 11-year-old drummer in some of these little churches was some interesting times, let me tell you. Now, I was mighty eager with a bass as well. Chris, drums? He didn't know that secret, did he?
Yeah, well, I beat them things. Well, and that was the thing. And back in those days, it was kind of like North Carolina. You'd shake a tree around here, and 4 singers and a band would fall out of it, because we had so many good Southern gospel groups in this area, the Mac Adams Quartet and the Bryant Brothers, which, I hear songs like, Tell My Friends. Well, I never knew that as a Weatherford song. I knew it as a Bryant Brothers song.
It was a Bryant Brothers song. That's right. That's right.
One of the highest compliments I ever got was when the Bryant Brothers asked us to play with them. And I was like, the Bryant Brothers asking me to play the drums with them? Are you kidding me right now?
Yep. Wow.
So yeah, that was a good learning curve of doing that. But we did that from, I guess I was playing the drums from 78 till 80, I guess it was. Right. What month was it that we started the Bama Boys?
I think our very first singing as the Bama Boys, which came along after the Colombians, was in May, I believe. May of 80.
I'm trying to find it. Can I play a Colombian song when I was playing the drums?
Yeah, do that. Because we want to do this again, I think, the next couple of weeks leading up to this event on March 19th, when the Dixie Echoes are going to be in Fayette, Alabama. And everybody that sees this video needs to be there that night, if it's within distance and you can make it, at the Fayette Civic Center. But yeah, on one of these follow-up that we do, one of the next 2 weeks, we need to play some Bryant Brothers too, and we'll tell some more about about the Bryant Brothers and how they fit into all this picture as well.
And I can't forget the Fields family and the singing Bryants.
Absolutely.
That was 2.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
But
we'll
anyway,
focus on some of those stories in one of the follow-ups. Yeah.
So Les, if you ever want to know if I played the drums, yes. And here we go. You ready? Let me make sure I got the volume turned up here.
I bet I know which one.
Well,
that's what I figured.
Wear it out, Pee-wee. I'm not playing the Juice harp, however.
To Canaan's land I'm on my way, where the soul of man never dies. My darkest night will turn to day, where the soul of man never dies.
That little shuffle wasn't even your idea, was it? You were told to do that.
Where all is peace and joy and love, and the soul of man never dies. The roses blooming there for me, where the soul of man never dies. And I will spend eternity where the soul of man never dies. Dear sweet farewell, guarantee of you did not die. Where all is peace and joy and love, and the soul of man never dies. No sweet farewell, guarantee of you did not die. Where all is peace and joy and love, and the soul of man never dies. Never dies.
So there you go. And let's answer a couple of questions. My
Yeah.
buddy Richard Harris wanted to know who the bass singer was. That was Avon Rushing.
Yep.
that
Same
was the
vocal
same
lineup as
singing.
those other ones. Yeah.
Yep. Avon singing bass, Daddy singing baritone, Joe Champion, Don Shepard singing lead, Ken Cook singing tenor. Just the musicians kind of shifted around a little bit. Neil was playing bass on all of those, but so there you go. And but yeah, that was interesting. Les said he was glad he was sitting down. Me too, Les. And old Butch is here, Neil. Brandon Porter.
Oh man, yeah.
Les mentioned him a while ago, and then Brandon said that reminded Les that he sung in a quartet with Neil. He was an original Chosen Witness member, wasn't he?
Well, there you go. He
So
was there at the beginning.
Uh,
Yeah.
Odd facts known by few.
There you go. That's right. That's
Hat
right.
tip to the Andy Griffith Show. So,
Technically, we sang for just a few months as a trio, but then he came right along and completed the group.
okay,
First
all
got
right. So he
started.
wasn't original, but he was there pretty early on.
Pretty early on, yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so that was the album that I got to be on, the Green Hour. Have you got a picture of it?
Yeah, I'm working to put it up right now. I'm just a little behind. but
Load
I'm
one in, but
just a little
and
snippet up in the corner
Les,
again.
don't get up. I don't know if you can see that too good. You may have to pull your glasses off and look at that, but we was wearing it out them leisure suits, buddy.
Yeah,
The
let me
band
tell you.
was. The
Let me tell
singers
you.
there on the left in their rose-colored suits, and then we couldn't find a brown one that was little enough for me, so I had to have a lighter colored brown one. But man, we just
Right.
had them collars spread out sure enough. So
Oh man.
but that was the stuff. So, but yeah, that was 78. And then in 80 is basically a bunch. There you go. There it is.
Yeah, there's a bigger picture.
Yep.
hmm You was cool with them collars. It went all the way down
I'm
to the
telling
edges of your
you.
shoulders.
Look at that. It was. It's touching the end of the seam of the shoulder and the coat.
And
Yeah.
the other one in that picture we didn't mention there next to Mark Jones, who was on the far right as you look at the picture. Next to him was Mr. Wade Brown. Wade drove the bus back in those days and kept that thing together and rolling down the road.
What was it? A 1948 Greyhound 4104, I believe.
I think you're right. Yeah, had about 2,035,000 miles on it when we got it, and yeah, that's right.
But pop that back up right quick, just because
Okay.
we mentioned these guys a while ago, but in
Right.
case somebody doesn't know us, I know Richard probably isn't familiar with it, but going from left to right, that's Ken Cook. He was the tenor singer. Don Shepard's next to him. Our dad, Joe Champion. Avon Russian standing in front of the Weems Bridge there, because that was at Aaron and Gail Weems' house is where we had that made in
Mhm.
Millport. And then there's Neil, and yes, that's me rocking that middle part. And then Wade Brown and then Mark Jones. So that was the
Right.
Columbians in 78. And that title song, That Old Ship's Gonna Sail Again, was a song that Don wrote and that Daddy sung. You want to play it?
You can play a little bit of it if you want. Yeah.
Well, if I won't
I
play
say a
any
little
of it, I'm gonna
bit.
play the whole thing.
Might as well play the whole thing. Yeah. It's an
I got to
original
find it
number.
first. Yeah, here we go. And this was cool because wait a minute, I gotta try to do too many things at once here. But nowadays, and this is part, well, somebody may get mad, but I don't care. There's a lot of groups that are out there singing that they stack their vocals so much that you could basically turn off their mics and never know a difference. We didn't know what stacking was then, but somebody came up with the idea, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Joe sang with Joe? And so Daddy basically sang this whole song twice and overlaid it. So that's why you hear that. So we were stacking when stacking wasn't cool. But this is that song that Don wrote, the title song from that album from '78. That old ship's gonna sail again.
Yeah. Mark Jones on the piano.
God shed his blood on Calvary's tree. He suffered pain for you and me. He saved my soul, and his love set me free. I want to join in the happy song. I'm going home where I belong. When God's ship sails again to heaven's shore, that old ship to heaven's shore gonna sail again. All God's children here on earth will finally win. There'll be no sickness, there'll be no pain. We're gonna live in God's domain. When God's ship to heaven's shore sails again. When I look at life below, I think of peace on heaven's shore, where we will live with all the saints over there. To hear the shouts and joyous songs, I'm going home where I belong. When God's ship sails again to heaven's shore, that old ship to heaven's shore is gonna sail again. All God's children here on earth will finally win. There'll be no sickness, there'll be no pain. We're gonna live in God's domain. When God's ship to heaven's shore sails again. When God's ship to heaven's shore sails again.
Well, there you go. That's the
Good
Colombians, and that old ship's going to sail again. So, Mama said this. Did you see that, Neil?
I did not.
There you go.
I got to take note. Mama said it. Oh, yeah. I sure did.
You
When
were
I
a
first,
thumb bass player for a long time, wasn't you?
when I first started learning, I just played with my thumb, and the Colombians did. There was a weekend that we did. I believe it was 4 concerts one weekend. Now this is just a regional group, and these men, held jobs down, and me and Chris wasn't at that point yet in life, but they had full-time jobs. But that one weekend we had four dates, and I know some of them was up in the Birmingham, Alabama area, which was about 2 hours away from where we lived, and I played the bass so hard that weekend that I had a big old blood blister come up on my thumb that I was playing. And I just kept right on playing through it. It never busted. Just kind of turned into a callus eventually. But soon after that, I learned to play with my fingers. I got done with that thumb plucking bass.
Deborah wanted to know how many of the Colombians are still with us. I guess, I mean, from the 78 album, or the 1978 album, it was a 33 and a third, but I guess everybody's still here except Daddy, Don, and Wade, right?
Right. Yeah.
So,
So yeah,
oh, and here's another fun fact. I forgot about this. That
Yeah.
negative is reversed, isn't it?
Oh,
Isn't that the one?
I
Yeah,
think that's the
because
one.
your hair's parted on the wrong side, and
I think
Ken's, and
I think that's
the
the
red.
one. And nobody
Yeah,
really
that,
even noticed it until we'd had the records a while. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, so that took us through 78 and up until 1980, and that's when several things happened, and me and Neil started bugging Daddy and telling him we wanted to sing, and so we did basically the same thing that the Triumphant Quartet did. There was a mass exodus from one group to start another group, but
Yeah. Well,
the
they had
three
already.
champions and Don left the Colombians to start the Bama Boys. So.
That's right. But the men in the Colombians had kind of urged it along because they had started letting us sing some at the Colombians dates.
Oh yeah,
Me
the
and you
junior
and Ken
Colombians.
Cook's son and Mark would sing as the junior Colombians, and we'd get up and sing a few, and that's
And
kind of
Avon's daughter Karen would sing some, and both
she
of
sure
Greg's
would.
boys did. I mean, we had several different lineups through then, but
Both of Ken's
different ones
boys,
of
yeah.
us was singing on different songs. But
Yep. So that really kind of lit our fire, I think, for getting to sing, and we wanted to sing more, and yeah, and Daddy didn't push us, or at least I don't really think he ever pushed it. And I never felt like he was pushing us to sing or making us sing. We just let it be known that we wanted to sing, and he made the way for us to sing. Is the way I
yeah,
saw it. Yeah.
so we started the Bama Boys in 1980, wasn't it? I know I asked you a while ago, but I don't remember if you said. I don't know. I think it was summer.
It was May.
Sometime.
Yeah, it was May of 1980. Our first concert singing as the Bama Boys was at Probst Memorial United Methodist Church, where we had
Yep.
attended before Dad joined the Colombians.
And
Yep.
if you're so inclined, Neil put up a Bama Boys Facebook page, which I think we're on it tonight, or I'm not sure, but anyway, but there is a Bama Boys page on Facebook, and it has got just tons of pictures and programs and tickets of big singings that we got to be a part of and that kind of thing. And this one was one of my favorites. There's your early Bama Boys picture. That
Yeah.
That was let's see, going at you just in the far left, you can see, but that was Margaret Posey that played the piano, and then I'm your friendly neighborhood wide tie tambourine man there. And then between me and Daddy there is Carolyn Robinson playing the drums, and then Dad, and then Neil, and then Mark Aldridge playing the guitar, and Don Shepard. That was at Pleasant Grove, wasn't it?
It
That
was
picture?
Pleasant
Yeah.
Grove between Millport and Kennedy.
Yep.
Yep.
So that was the early days. We hadn't sung enough to afford coach yet, but
Right. And that was
But-
Don Shepard's guitar that I'm playing. That's the one that I learned to play on, that he brought to the Colombian practices, and that I learned to play on. So that's what I played for years until Daddy got me my own bass.
And so we trucked along there, and then we at one time was the original drummer Bill, because in that
Bill
picture
Posey
we just
was the
showed you,
original. Yeah.
Margaret's brother Bill Posey played the drums, and he and his dad were tragically killed in an auto accident. And I always tell the story, or not always, but I think about it. They had a double funeral for Bill and his dad, and it was at the Church of God of Prophecy in Gordo. And you talk about the epitome of running the gamut of emotions, which my head hurts because I've never used that many 50-cent words in one sentence before in my life, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, because I'm fairly certain that was the first time that I had sung at a funeral, because they had asked us to sing.
Right.
And I mean, the church was just covered up all the way, standing around the walls, people standing outside, because it was such a tragic time in a small town, as that kind of thing goes. And but yeah, there was just a lot of stuff going on. But Margaret kept playing with us for a few years, and Mark Aldridge, who was the guitar player in that picture we showed you a while ago, his mom Evie played with us for a little while, and then Mark came along and rejoined the group, or rejoined us, and then Avon Rushing came along when Don decided he didn't want to go anymore, and so that was, and then we had the famous Millport Gym talent show, and that's Lee Leonard, which nobody outside of Millport knows him as Lee anymore. Everybody knows him as Red. But last time I heard from him, he was like the events director or operations director or something for Alabama sports over the University of Alabama.
That's
But
right.
that was Neil and Red and Dad and me and Mark there at the piano. That was in the old Millport High School gym. I think we had sung for a talent show or something like that. But
Yeah, Lee
that
was
was
known
back
to
in the
me
day.
back then as Lee Leonardo Anthony Earl Rollo Leonard, the man of a
Yep.
thousand names. And now we can add Red to that. So yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
But
Hey,
that was
Melvin Mordecai, and I distinctly remember the Bama boys coming to Coal Fire Baptist Church
oh yes,
in the
many
80s.
times.
Absolutely. Sure
And it's
do.
Mordecai now, Neil. It ain't
I'm
Mordecai
sorry.
anymore.
I'm sorry. I grew up in Millport. Melvin Mordecai. Got you.
But that the five that you just saw in that picture was a part of the first Bama Boys recording. That I wanted, was it Houston, Mississippi? I think that we went to a gentleman had a
It
somewhere over in there.
was, I was
The Where
thinking,
Are You project.
yeah, I was thinking Bruce, Mississippi, maybe is where it
Okay,
actually
yeah,
was, but it wasn't far from Houston, I think, if I remember right. It was in the back, basically in a back closet in the back of a Radio Shack store. It's kind of the way I
yeah.
remember that studio.
But the quality is not great because we only got, I don't think we got albums, LPs. We only got 8-track tapes and cassettes, if memory serves.
Right, right.
But anyway, here's a cut from that. So apologize. What is it the kids say now? Sorry, not sorry for the quality, but here's one that you might like.
Beautiful home, beautiful land, beautiful place on a faraway strand, beautiful country where my friends have gone. Sorrow and pain, trouble and care, none of these will ever be there. Heaven is waiting now for
Could that
me.
tenor singer be any more country sounding?
Beautiful home of purity light, beautiful home of mansion bright.
That's how you sung Beautiful Home when you didn't have a bass singer. That's the trio version of
Beautiful
it.
sights there to behold, beautiful gates in the streets of gold. I will have a beautiful home someday.
Tickle My Ivories, Mark Jones.
But that's the group that you're listening to now.
Beautiful
Lee's
roads,
not singing
beautiful
on it.
crowds, chorus singing all around. Happy reunion on that golden shore. We will be there, happy and free, satisfied ever will be. Praising the Savior for His love evermore. Beautiful home of purity light, beautiful home of mansions bright, and I know I'll live in one someday. Beautiful sights there to behold, beautiful gates in the streets of gold. I will have a beautiful home someday. Beautiful home of purity light, beautiful home of mansions bright.
Monster fade,
Yep, there you go.
hard ending. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that one in just for our own entertainment, if nothing like that. But
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, goodness knows, I sang like I talked back then. So
Yeah, there you go.
I learned how to clean up my singing and my talking once I started in radio. But anyway,
Right. That studio
I
I
don't know.
remember was a little 4-track studio, and the music was all on one track, and the singing was all on one track. So if anybody
Yep.
messed up, we all did it again, you know.
Mhm.
And then they added a couple, a guitar on a couple or something on the extra tracks. And hey, let me call out my father-in-law, Ted Brazel. He's listening tonight, and
Yeah.
I'm glad he hopped on there and is listening to this carrying on. He likes anytime somebody's carrying on and having a laugh. So
Oh, yes. And let's catch up. Jordan Lawler wants to know, do you still play that same bass? Do you know whatever happened to it? Have you still got it, or?
I do not have that same bass. No, that was Don's bass, and
Yeah.
I don't have that particular one. I have the one that Dad got me in late 1981, I guess it was in 81. And I still have it, and that's the one I still play. But yeah, I don't know what become of that one that was Don's.
Les had to go, but he's wanted to thank us for our contributions, and it's like, well, we're just doing what we love, so that's the only no. And my buddy OP Morgan is on here. He told me he was going to pop on. Hey, OP.
All right.
And let's see, our cousin Amy Knight Fowler's on here, and Rhonda Richardson, and Susan's here, or Susan Rivers.
Susan Rivers, yeah.
Glad to have all you folks with us. We've been here for an hour now, Neil. So
there ain't no
it's
way.
gone
Have
fast.
we really?
Yes, 1 hour and 35 seconds. So
yeah,
we got a little bit of a late start, but yeah,
right.
And we could probably go for about 3 or 4 more, but
yeah, but we'll save some for some other times.
Can we do this again between now and the 19th?
Yeah, I think we need to do it.
Do you want to wrap up for a while? Do you want to wrap up, or you want to keep going, or what?
Let's do it definitely once next week and once the week after at least, and then we'll see after that.
All right.
But we definitely want y'all to remember March 19th, Saturday, at the Fayette Civic Center, and come and hear the legendary Dixie Echoes.
We got to play a Dixie Echoes song before we go.
Yeah, I don't want to wind down yet. We can go all night. When it gets to be nobody watching, we can quit then. But or maybe before then.
Let's see. Let's play something off of their most recent album.
The Dixie Echoes, yeah, that's good stuff.
I don't know. I want to. We'll probably play a couple, because I know I want to play one, but I want to play another up tempo song.
All right.
There's so many good ones, because the Dixie Echoes are doing something that a whole lot of the Southern gospel groups either can or won't do, and that's sing 4-part harmony. Anytime anybody says anything about a quartet, oh yes, I love that 4-part harmony, but 98.2% of it is not, because the bass singer is always singing somebody else's note an octave low.
Yep.
But if you have true 4-part harmony, each part is singing a different note that makes a chord that, is just mind blowing sometimes. But I don't know. Let's play I want to play Getaway Jordan. They do a good bit of that 4-part harmony on that. But here's the Dixie Echoes and Getaway Jordan. Almost sound like a radio guy.
You do.
Yeah.
Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away back. I get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away back. I get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. I remember the day, I remember it well. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. My soul was hanging on the edge of hell. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. Singing, get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away back. I get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away back. I get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord.
You could play that. You muted.
If you get there before I do, I wanna cross over to see my Lord. Tell all my friends I'm a coming too. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. Singing, get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away back. I get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away back. I get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. When my feet get cold, my eyes are shut, my hands lay folded across my breast. I don't have to worry about the way I'll fare. God Almighty done told me he'd be right there to lift me up on the wings of love, carry my soul to heaven above. Sing, get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away, old Jimmy Jordan. Get away back. Get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord. Get away, old Jimmy George. Get away, old Jimmy George. Get away back. Get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord.
I said, get back.
Get back, Jordan.
Get away back.
Get back, old Jimmy Jordan.
Get away back.
Get back, Jordan. Well, I wanna cross over to see my Lord.
I said, get back.
Get back, Jordan.
Get away
Get back,
back.
old Jimmy Jordan.
Get away back.
Get back, Jordan. Well, I wanna cross over to see my Lord.
Well, get away.
Get away, Jordan.
Get away.
Get away, Jordan. Get away back. Get back, Jordan. I wanna cross over to see my Lord.
So there you go, the Dixie Echoes and Get Away, Jordan. That's
Good
stuff
stuff.
right there now.
And having them at the Fayette Civic Center, that's a lot of memories associated with it, because we had our
Oh, yes.
for years we had the Bama Boys summer specials that we hosted there in the Millport and Fayette area, either at the South Lamar High School or the Fayette Civic Center. And the very first one was there at Fayette Civic Center in either 85 or 86. I'm gonna fall short there. I can't remember for sure which of those 2 years it
Oh,
was.
see, you're hurting my heart now. I've
Yeah,
been
well,
bragging on you about it.
Well, I've narrowed it down.
I'm looking on the Bama Boys page. Let's see here.
Yeah.
You posted a flyer from the 4th annual, but it doesn't have the date on it. So I don't know. Let me see. There's okay. The 10th anniversary was in 1990, and that was at South Lamar.
Well, that was the Bama Boys 10th
That's
anniversary.
right. Yeah, that's true.
Not the 10th summer special, but I think it was 85 was the first one, right there at the Fayette Civic Center. And so we got a lot of memories there, and we're gonna make some more. We get to sit there and listen to the Dixie Echoes on Saturday night, March 19th, 7:00, and it won't cost you to get in. No tickets sold. You ain't got to pay to get in the door that night. So come and enjoy the Dixie Echoes. I mean, you'll feel encouraged. You'll laugh. And you will have the opportunity to worship, because they will be singing the gospel of Jesus Christ in song. So
yep,
come join us.
Catching up, Linda Taylor says that her son Jamie's having a live auction tonight. We ought to do a mashup and just have a gospel singing memory show and do some auction some stuff off too with Jamie sometime. But
yeah.
I
saw Marcus Honnell had said something to us earlier too. Marcus sang with the Hartman for years, and
he said he remembered Mr. Larry Turner doing recitations with us and always did a good job. Yeah, we'll cover that next time. We'll move on up through the Bama Boys years,
right,
and then into the Faithful Friends and Chosen Witness years next time we get it. Deborah said growing up there, we're singing somewhere every Saturday night. Kids today are missing out on those shindigs. So, hardly anybody has Saturday night regular singings. I mean, a lot of churches would have, one would have their second Saturday night, one would have their third Saturday night singing and all that. But miss those days. Boo says he's about worn out the Bama Boys CD that I made him. So I guess he's wanting another one. So we'll have to get on that. My pal, Big Mal Mallory from here in Fayette, says he remembers seeing the Bama Boys at the old Millport High School in the gym back in the day.
Yep.
So, that was, And Carolyn's here too. We talked about her a while ago when she played drums with us. She said she's loving this. I am too, Carolyn.
Yeah.
We could just go on and on and on. Can I play another Dixie Echo song?
Well, why not? I'm not going to stop you.
I want to play Scoot song. Tying it kind of all back to the real Southern gospel stuff. It's scheduled. Hopefully we can make it all happen, but I'm going to start a new show on Real Southern Gospel Radio, which you can get by either going to the website, which is realsoutherngospelradio.com, or you can download the app on your mobile devices. It's both in the Apple App Store and on Google Play. Just search for Real Southern Gospel Radio, and you'll see the little seal that's up there in the top right corner of the screen. It looks like that, but you can listen to us, and that's what we're doing. We're playing music just like what you've heard here tonight, that a lot of folks, unfortunately, you don't get to hear on the radio and that kind of thing anymore. But Les Butler started this back in January of this year, and I joined him in February. And said all that to say, in April, I'm going to start a new show called Champ's Favorites, where I'll be visiting with some of my favorite people, and they will be talking about some of their favorite songs. And the Dixie Echoes were nearby here, just down the road, just out of Fayette, a couple of weeks ago, and I got to spend some time with Scoot, and he's going to be my first guest and talking about some of his favorite songs. He brought a couple of older Dixie Echoes songs to the table, but I wanted to play one that he wrote and is on their latest recording called "He Is the Only One."
Oh yeah,
And I
great
told him
song.
in that interview, Glenn Allred to me is the best baritone singer that I have ever heard. Period. But if he's number one, Scoot's gotten up to 1A. I mean, just a solid guy singing some solid music and doing some great playing. And he wrote this song called "He Is the Only One." Here's the Dixie Echoes.
I don't know why Jesus loved me. He gave it all at Calvary. He left all the splendor of glory, dying that I might live. Do you know that would love someone so that he freely lay down his life? There's not but one, it's Jesus, God's Son. He is the only one. He sees the tears that you're crying. He cares when your heart is breaking, but your cares and your troubles will all pass away the moment you call out his name. Do you know that would love someone so that he'd freely lay down his life? There's not but one, it's Jesus, God's Son. He is the only one. He is the only one.
Dixie Echoes, Scoot Chillnut on a song he wrote called "He Is the Only One." Once again, I'll ask, are there any questions? There better not be. Unmute yourself and talk to me, brother.
That is definitely good stuff, man.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Indeed.
I'm going to be there as such a fan that night of them
Oh,
and their
yes.
music. I'm going to be there as absolutely as a fan of Jesus, the one that we're going to be lifting up. Everybody there that's singing. I'm going to look forward to hearing some faithful friends, participating in some chosen witness, and we're just going to have a good time. We just need y'all to tell everybody to share, to let people know, maybe people that don't get on the computer a lot or on Facebook, and help us get the word out. Even this video tonight, if you'll like it and if you'll share it, it'll let more people on on these networks know about it and see it, and they can come back and they can watch it later, and they can maybe tune in next week and hear some more good stories. And we definitely got some funny ones. Yeah, we definitely didn't unload it all on you this week. So there's going to be some good ones you're going to have to come back and hear. Now, let me tell you, some of them even with audio to support them.
Yes. And you say electrocution, but anyway, we'll just leave you guessing on that. Mal said that Dixie Echoes came to Guin every year, as well as the Florida Boys and Inspirations. Yeah, the Guin was the hometown of Dale Shellnut, who is Randy Shellnut's dad and Scoot's granddad, that was with the Dixie Echoes for a long, long time. Left us, died in his early 40s of a heart attack back around 83, I think.
Right.
But man, what a legacy he has left in his son and his grandson of carrying on the torch of gospel music through the Dixie Echoes. But yeah, they used to have the Dale Shellnut Day in Guin every year. And those groups that he mentioned, a lot more. Did we sing there one year, or did we just go as fans? I don't remember, but I remember sitting on the bleachers and
right.
The concrete bleachers at Guin and listening to it, but I couldn't remember if we sung there or not.
I think we just went as listeners on the actual Dale Shellnut Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus Hunnell said, yeah, the very first recording that the Hartman did was down at Echo Sound Studios, which is Randy and Randy's studio down there in Pensacola, where we mentioned that Faithful Friends is recorded, Chosen Witness is recorded. So yeah, that's a cool connection there, Marcus.
And I've got to say this. I mean, this ain't got anything to do with anything, but congratulations to the Lady Red Raiders of Guin. They won the Class 1A Girls Basketball Championship today. So,
well, there you
just
go.
thought I'd throw that in. So
that's worth a shout out for sure.
And Deborah, the Dixie Echoes are still based out of Pensacola, Florida, where they've always been based out of. Dale moved down there when he joined the Dixie Echoes, and Randy and Scoot's still there. I think Scoot kind of splits his time between there and his home in Morristown, where he and his wife Penny and all their kids live. So, but yeah, the home base of the Dixie Echoes is still Pensacola, Florida. Well, no, I'll start to say the address. I better not do that.
Yeah.
On a public forum. But
right.
Right. Let's just say Rhonda Street in Pensacola. So.
Yeah, down that way. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, anything else you want to add tonight? We've been here hour and 17 minutes now. So.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good first time, and I'm just tickled that the many has held on and listened and watched and participated tonight, and hopefully others will see it even after the fact when it's out there. And then, yeah, y'all just share it and tell people about it. Come back next week, and you'll hear some mighty good stories, and you'll probably hear.
Are you threatening me, boy?
A little. You'll probably hear, some more mentioning of March 19th in Fayette, Alabama. FET, Fayette, Alabama.
That's it. That's how you say
Fayette
it anyway.
Civic Center. That's right.
Yep. Which is for our real old timers, the old elementary school, old grammar school, as they called it, in Fayette. And the auditorium that we'll be singing in that night was the old auditorium for the grammar school at the Fayette Grammar School back in the day. So,
yep.
I used to live on Grammar School Hill, right up behind the Civic Center. So,
yeah.
Back in the day.
And Faithful Friends is made up of course, Chris, which they're going to be there as well. And Chris sings with them, and former Colombian Quartet founder and member Ken Cook, former Chosen Witness member Johnny Deeren, and honorary Bama boy Mr. Randy Pennington. That's who makes up Faithful Friends. So yeah,
that's the four of us, and then Chosen Witness is Neil and his wife Loretta, and Randall Sutherland and Mark Jones. So Randall sings baritone, probably could sing about anything. Was the bass singer when Dave Eazell retired and moved off to North Carolina. Randall stepped in and moved up a spot. So y'all are just singing as a trio now. So,
right.
You may have to make Randy an honorary Chosen Witness member.
Might have to.
I don't know.
Might have to. Yeah, there you go.
But thank y'all so much for joining us. We we weren't expecting big numbers or anything like that, but the number of people that have watched the little test that we did Tuesday night just floored me. So I know
Yeah.
there'll be a lot of people that see this. I don't know if they'll stay for the whole hour and 19 minutes or not, but if you do, fine. If you don't, fine. We just love to
Yeah.
hang out for a little while. So,
That's right.
but yeah,
been good.
I'm glad you had this idea of having the singing and of doing this kind of thing as far as getting the word out. So, yep, mark it down, March 19th, Saturday night, 7:00, Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama, and hope to see you there. Anything else? All minds clear?
Until we gather again. One night next week, be watching for exactly when.
Yep. Thank you, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Y'all have a good evening.